I just discovered this. I forget what the fuck it was, like Claw something. It's basically a claw machine deck building roguelike, and I've never been more on board for anything in my entire life. It was like
sounds insane.
Clawbicula, something stupid like that. It was
Clawbicula.
It was Claw something.
I just Clawbicula.
That's what they do when you go into the doctor's office. They're like, I'm just gonna get you to bend over and cough, and I'm gonna reach in and grab your clawbaclool or whatever.
Your gabagool.
Your gabagool. Just cough twice. I'm gonna grab your gabagool.
They did announce a new mafia, so I mean,
they did, yeah.
What a do, everybody. My name is Aaron. I own more Allen wrenches than anyone in the world.
And I'm Jerry, and I just drank a gallon of paint. Let's see what happens.
And you're listening to SuperPod Saga.
I forgot guests aren't allowed. I was about to say something, and I forgot I wasn't allowed to talk.
Guests are not allowed to push the lotion in the basket.
I feel weird. I feel weird without talking without someone introducing me. So
that's okay. That's right, everybody. Welcome back. Have a seat. Take your shoes off. Stay a while. This is indeed SuperPod Saga. I'm your host, Aaron. I'm joined, of course, by Jerry. Hello, Jerry.
Yo. Hello.
Yo, indeed. Yes.
Yo. 3 yo-yos.
I wish I had 3 yo-yos. For any first-time listeners, this is the podcast where each week we discuss a different video game topic with different guests, hang out, have fun, talk video game accessories. And Jerry, what the hell are we talking about today?
Oh, hi, I'm here.
Fuck, Andre, you tell everybody what we're talking about today.
I'm sorry.
He couldn't contain himself. He couldn't do it any longer. He was like a dog just sitting there like waiting for a treat, and he's like, I want a treat. I want it
now. May I? This would be a great honor. I love doing this. Okay.
Do it.
Today, we are talking about, on this here podcast, our favorite turn-based combat systems and RPGs. Is that correct? Because that's what I took notes for. So hopefully that's what we're talking about.
Pretty much. Yeah, our favorite combat systems that took turn-based combat and tweaked it, pulled it apart, and made it even better than turn-based combat already is. Because listeners, turn-based combat is not outdated. And I'll fight anybody that says otherwise. Turn-based combat just has this layer of complexity and strategy that you just don't get with action-based combat. Like, say, Dark Souls, where you roll around. I'm not saying Dark Souls is bad by any means, but like
I'll say it.
Better not.
Dark Souls, you roll around and attack. And yes, there's strategy to that, but turn-based combat is fun. I love it. Jerry loves it. Andre loves it.
And so are tank controls.
Yeah.
I love tank controls. I love the entire tank controls era.
Hell yeah. But yes, thank you, Andre. For any listeners who haven't heard you on this show before, go ahead and introduce yourself, your show, plug any socials, all that stuff. And tell us about what's your favorite pizza topping, or your favorite, like, your dream pizza.
My dream pizza? Honestly, my favorite pizza is pepperoni and bacon. I don't know why.
God.
I don't know why I've always settled on that, but it just works. I couldn't. You know what it is? It's good everywhere. No matter where you get the pizza, no matter what kind of crust, even from like a place that's not that good, if you get pepperoni and bacon, you're pretty much it. It's very hard to screw that up. I've never had a bad pepperoni and bacon pizza. But yeah, I'm Andre, Dre if you're nasty, from the Fine Time podcast. Do I want to explain Fine Time to the people? I've been on here enough. I guess I should. It's just 3 friends, me, Steve, and Kevin. Whatever we're playing. That could be something new. It could be Black Myth Wukong. It could be something really old on TurboGrafx CD. It doesn't matter. Whatever we are currently playing authentically, that's what we're going to talk about on the show that day. We'd love to cover events and news and stuff. Gamescom is going on as we're recording this, so we're probably going to obviously be talking about that. If there's a Nintendo Direct, that's Christmas for us. My God. Right. We love covering, Microsoft's, follies too. It's real good stuff. We love to play games too. We love to do any quiz game that embarrasses us and like shows that how much we don't know about something is always funny. So we love to do stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good old fine time. Come have a fine time with us.
That you need to make that into a bumper sticker. Come have a fine time with Fine Time.
I mean,
like,
honestly,
trademark.
I've said it enough at this point, so I
Or
really
have a
should.
Foin time.
Fine time with Fine Time.
Nice.
Holy, I can vouch. Yeah, Fine Time is really fucking good. The whole series where you and Vin, go through the Namco Museum. That shit is so fun to listen to because I've only ever played, I think, Volume 1. So it's awesome to hear about all the different games and rooms and shit and the Volume 2 and 3 and stuff.
I'm glad you liked it. We worked our ass off. I can safely say I've never worked harder on anything on Fine Time. And we recorded all those in one giant 5-hour plus session.
Holy
shit.
Yeah, so we did that shit, man. Like it was a labor of love. I'm glad people are enjoying it.
That's good, man. Well, yeah, listeners, if you ever need more Fine Time in your life, you can find them, of course, in any podcast player out there, I'm sure. But you could also go to superpodnetwork.com/finetime. That's all their stuff is there as well. All their socials, all that shit, as well as
They're one of the homies.
exactly SuperPod Network, home to so many awesome, fabulous podcasts and a pretty decent blog. Not to toot my own horn, I just wrote about Sonic Extreme because it's
Go
so
ahead, toot it.
fascinating. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Toot that horn.
yeah,
Toot it away.
But you can find Retro Rehab there as well. SuperPod, Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Gaming Together. All the homies are there.
Bar Silence.
Bar Silent, dude. Yes,
I'm sorry to play favorites. I just love that show.
Jameson
That's
is
fine,
he's a real one, man.
Yeah.
I talk about Jameson's show all the time, man. Like, he picks the best fucking games to do an episode about. Like, Killer Instinct was his latest one. God damn.
Yeah.
His episodes
goddamn.
are so fucking tight.
So good. He has that shit. Honestly, I've tried a couple solo episodes over the last year or so, and I think they've worked out pretty good. He was an inspiration for me to even try it in the first place. Like I'm not even close to on his level.
Not a lot of people can do a solo show, but yeah, he fucking does it.
He nails it, man. He's so good. Yeah, Bar Silence, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Oh, and our man's Bill. All the fabulous shows he does. Like, I listen to 3DO Experience.
Bill's a working man.
Yeah, dude. I love the 3DO Experience so fucking much. I listen to that every single time one comes out because I love hearing about the goofy, weird games that they play.
Love it.
But yeah, listeners, if you love us, go look at superpodnetwork.com. Check shit out. Leave a rating/review on everybody's shows if you love them. Check out them Patreons and all that shit. But enough about us. Let's
get into it.
Let's get into
Let's
it, man.
do it.
Andre,
those beefs.
You're our guest. Go ahead and, if you need to, take a bite of pizza, take a swig of Pepsi, and start us off, man.
I'll save the pizza for later.
Okay.
That'll be my treat. Just put 2 over my eyes. They're good for your complexion.
Like you're at a
Two
spa,
on the eyes, 2 on the
your
nipples, one on the hand.
I already have pepperoni nips. We don't really need to put them there. The small
Pop that top off. Pop that top off. Let's have a look at those pepperoni nips.
With this shitty ass webcam, you're not gonna be able to see shit. That shit's gonna look like milk duds. Man, okay, wow. I don't even know how to. There's nothing else we get to get. I already said goodnight, everybody.
First pick, everybody.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's let the guest go first. What's your first pick, Dre?
Let's start. I'll start with something fairly recent. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go recent. I want to talk about Octopath Traveler 2.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Okay, because
enlighten me.
I love both Octopath Travelers, of course, and they have very similar battle systems, and like 95% of what I'm about to say can probably apply to both games, but there are a couple things in Octopath 2 that make it, like, that like push it over the top for me. Aaron, you've played 2, right? Or just
the first one?
Just the first one?
Just
okay,
the first one.
So you'll be mostly familiar with what I'm about to say, whereas like, as just like an overview, the reason why I love Octopath is because your offense dictates your defense, almost in a way where each character, I get it, it's weird to call the enemies characters. They are not characters. They are things you hit with your sticks and bows and spells. when you hit them, they have weaknesses that reveal themselves to you, or you can reveal them with. By the way, I love when RPGs have the spyglass or the search or the whatever. Because in this game, it's really useful because it tells you all those weaknesses. Because usually it's like, okay, they have this much HP left. In this game, that's like almost like critical to gameplay to have that. And then when you do that, you can, okay, this one's weak to sword attacks and fire attacks and maybe a couple other things. You do those things, you exploit their weaknesses. Everyone has a number. And as you exploit them, that number goes down. Once that number gets to 0, they're broken. They're in the break state. That means they skip their next turn. Also, you can do like mega damage to them. And it's crazy because this works for everybody in the game, including bosses. This is for me like the soul of Octopath. Boss battles become this thing where you've seen it, Aaron. Every turn, if you will, is laid out in front of you. All the enemy turns and all the player turns. You see them all in a line up top, so you know exactly how it's going to go. And if you know, okay, this boss goes third, and it's probably going to do this crazy attack to me, I need to break this motherfucker before it does that. You need to do everything in your power to do that. And that kind of stuff to me makes the best RPG battle systems, turn-based or quite honestly otherwise, but especially, obviously since we're talking about turn-based today, it's incredible strategy to be able, again, to do offensive things and not just be like, okay, brace myself, this thing's going to attack me, which you can do too if you can't break the thing. But Aaron, in Octopath 2, everyone has, for lack of a better term, I forget what they're called in the game, but everyone has a limit break, basically, now in this game. And some of them are kind of utilitarian. They're not like huge attacks or anything like that. But one of them is where this guy, one of the mages, it's a limit break where all his attacks cause break points to the opponent. It doesn't matter what you do.
That's cool.
So it's like almost like a get out of jail free card. So it's like, if this is the last guy on the line, it's like, okay, I better pop this and pop some attack that's going to hit 3 times or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is because you need to break him. All that kind of strategy stuff. Obviously, I could go on about this for like 5 hours because I love these games. But having that sort of thing in a turn-based environment, I don't even know if that's the right term, is just incredible. I really, really, really love Octopath for that. So, and honestly, this and Octopath 2 are like maybe my favorite turn-based battle thing ever. I may feel like a little bit of recency bias, but honestly, after like 40 years of turn-based combat, I feel like we've just gotten to a place where it's like, this is just honestly the best. I don't think you can do better than Octopath for me, for my money.
Dude, I've always wanted to play those games, but it seems intimidating. They're longer than I thought they would be.
They're long. They're very long.
Which is good for the people that want that kind of thing, right? Because it's been a while. I feel like there was a pretty big gap between when we started getting like AAA turn-based games again. And I feel like Persona 5 kind of kicked that back off to be like, hey, guess what?
Sure.
Turn-based is still really fucking cool and nobody's doing it. Yeah.
I for a long time we just didn't do that, or they just, like you said, they weren't very high budget, or they weren't honestly very good. Sometimes,
I feel like Persona 5, Dragon Quest 11 was another one that
Dragon Quest 11's great,
reignited this whole thing, and then like Octopath comes out, and just there's so many little things leading up to just like this resurgence of turn-based combat, and I love it because I grew up on turn-based combat too. And there's nothing really quite like it. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, it's kind of hard to get into, I think, at this point. I feel like sometimes there's almost like a nostalgia to turn-based combat, but I've known some people to get into it like late in the game kind of thing. But I feel like it's hard because it's not niche, but it is at the same time. Like it wasn't niche back then, but it is now.
It is now. But even back then, it wasn't like the tip top. I feel like some popular games like that had it, like a Final Fantasy VII, sort of like pushed it a bit more mainstream. But then, like, I don't think you saw. Well, Aaron, didn't Tommy recently get into like JRPGs or like turn-based, like
he just recently got like really into RPGs because he started with Tales of Arise, but now he's fucking hooked on Octopath Traveler 2, which is great. Like he and I both played the first game and we kind of fell off of that because we both had other games going on at the time. But yeah, he loves Octopath Traveler 2, and I need to get into this game because like the combat is,
man.
Have you ever played any of the Bravely Default games or Bravely Second, which I guess is one?
I have barely fucked with it. I want to play Bravely Second though. It's on my Steam wish list. I definitely want to play that game.
All of those games are so good. The first one has like it gets really repetitive on the second half, but yeah, Bravely Default 2, which is the newest one, that game is so fucking difficult, but it is so good. Like it's got kind of almost the same combat system as Octopath in a way, because like enemies have different weaknesses and shit that you have to just find out from attacking and doing different moves, and they have kind of the same. I remember in Octopath Traveler 1, you had this system where you gain like points and you could spend those points to do like multiple attacks in one turn. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Bravely Default.
Yeah, and I didn't even scratch the surface of that. There's that stuff. There's like all sorts of spells you can mix and match your classes, so you can do all sorts of stuff to the enemy. You can bend Octopath to your will. Like that is that, and they want you to do that. There's a lot of games where it's like, okay, you can't have too much fun because that would break the game. No, if you want to break the game, you can break the game. You can even have, I think it's in the first game too, but in Octopath 2, there is surely a thing that you could, there's like a perk you can take where you can break the 9,999 damage thing. Yeah, so you can do crazy damage if you really want to set yourself up for it. Okay, break the enemy, okay, damage buff this guy, make sure he has 4 BP points so he can do his big ass attack, right? Like if you want to do all that stuff and set it up that way, oh my god, big ass attack. Dude, that's what I want to call fuck Limit Break. Big ass attack is what I really
ass attack.
Would love Bravely Default 2.
And if you love Bravely Default, then you have to play Radiant Historia.
Oh, is that
I've
your
never
pick,
played.
Jerry?
That's the PS2 game, right? Or
no, you're thinking of Radadia Stories.
Story. Oh my god, I'm so glad you knew what I was talking about. Thanks.
Radiant Historia was on. I think that was a DS game.
I think and they remade it for 3DS, and they remade it. The DS version or the 3DS version. Bucks. I own the physical version of it. I'm so proud of that.
Oh my
dude,
god, that game is so fucking good.
So good.
Yeah. I gotta. Okay, yeah. Then I'll have to put that. Yeah, Radiant Story is something that just passed me by. I never tried it, but yeah, Bravely Default is on definitely moving up my list.
The thing about Radiant Historia that's like kind of like, you hear a lot of people tout about like, oh, this RPG has a really good story. I would almost argue that like I haven't finished Radiant Historia. I've only ever played about halfway through, but everything that I was getting from that game was like, this story is fucking awesome. Like this is insanely good. And I think I'd have to double check this. Aaron, you can fact check me after, but
I'm ready.
I'm pretty sure some of the OG Chrono Trigger people worked on this game.
I think so. I forget the names, but at least like 1 or 2 people carried over.
I think the composer also composed for this.
Mitsuda?
Yeah,
because he's the Chrono Trigger. I love while Aaron's looking that up. I love see, I'm a good glare in his glasses. I'm a good host. It's not my show, but I'm still a good host.
It's okay, dude. It's okay.
I love Mitsuda. That was sort of like Chrono Trigger was sort of his coming out party. That's kind of where everyone like heard of him. That was like his big like not coming out like that, but you know what I mean. not like that, but you know what I mean. But then there's a handful of Nobuo Uematsu tracks also in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate to say it, those are like the best ones.
Yeah, because
Tyranno Castle fucking destroys. Like, that song is incredible. I bet Mitsuda was secretly pissed, like, motherfucker, man. This is my chance to break out, and this guy is like showing me up right now. I mean, what can you do, right? But still.
Even though it's tied to RPGs and stuff, but like, I gotta say, my new favorite RPG composer is Soken, the guy that does all the Final Fantasy 14 stuff
and 16.
What the fuck, man? This guy is like a fucking wizard.
Yeah, he's so great. He is so great.
Ooh, god damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a mastermind.
Yeah, say it, Aaron.
I was gonna say, so nobody from Chrono Trigger worked on this game actually.
Oh,
but the person, the composer for the game, Yoko Shimomura.
Oh yeah,
that's Mario RPG and like Kingdom Hearts and shit.
Everything.
Yep, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
Mario
she's fucking
Luigi,
amazing.
Fucking
Live
Gargoyles Quest, Street Fighter 2.
Did she do
Street Fighter 2? Street Fighter 2 and Final Fight.
Oh, and Parasite Eve. Oh hell yeah, and Tobal.
And as of recently, Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I think so.
Have you guys not played Sea of Stars?
I played Sea of Stars.
I have. I hated the main characters because they're so fucking bland, but the combat is
they're really
cool.
Bland. That's exactly how I felt about
Oh
it.
my
I
God.
enjoyed the game. Yeah, I did not. I thought the dialogue sucked, but I enjoyed fighting everything, so I beat the game. I thought it was decent enough.
Garl's cool, but like
Garl's awesome.
The Sun and Moon characters, they were like, they didn't do anything.
Nah, nothing.
Garl
was the real main character.
Yep.
Garl was the real. Real one.
He's a dude. He's a real one.
So turn-based combat, right? By the way, is that anybody have any final words for Octopath or shit like that?
No, I basically what I said. I only scratched the surface. I talked about the break system because that's the most fun part of it for me. Yeah. But like honestly, there's just so much. There's so many spells. There's so many different items and everything. It's the best. It's my favorite. It is absolutely my favorite turn-based combat system now.
Holy shit.
Jerry, was Radiant Historia your pick, or is that just one you were kind of just?
No, I just kind of thought about that because you were mentioning Bravely Default, and I kind of remember it. It's not the same, but I don't know, something just clicked in my brain. And I was like, I hope everybody plays this game. But my first pick, because the way that I went into this was thinking about like not as much my favorite turn-based, but just like weird turn-based, like turn-based games that like you go, oh, okay, is it turn-based? Yes, it is. So first pick, Paper Mario, the Origami King.
Wow.
This game has a turn-based puzzle battle system,
kind of.
It's I don't know how to explain it. All I know is initially I was like, oh man, they're really fucking this Paper Mario series up. Like, why don't they just go back to their roots? And I was like, you know what? I'll try. I think I tried it at a friend's house. We threw it on. He had it. And I was like, hold on. I think this game might be good. And the more we played, the more addicted I was to the combat. And in a way that I have, like, kind of the way that you were talking, Dre, about Octopath 2, I just like I could not put this fucking game down because the combat itself is so addicting. And like you legitimately feel like a genius once you figure out like the hook of a certain fight. Like, yeah, the grunts and stuff, they're easy to kind of just swivel your way around because it's like a dial that you have to, it's like you're moving inward to attack. And then there's like attacks that like you can do from a range, but then like the dial is shifting. It's very hard to explain. So I'd almost recommend anybody that's even at all interested in Paper Mario or even turn-based games, if you wanted to, you know, spice it up in the bedroom tonight, you just fucking throw on that Origami King. Yeah, throw on that Paper Mario. This game has a lot of charm too. It has the Paper Mario charm that you would expect, but it's the battle system that I truly believe carries that game.
Yeah,
because of the way it is. Because again, I don't know how else to explain it other than turn-based puzzle combat.
I think that encapsulates it pretty well, man.
Have either of you played it?
I have not played the Origami King.
I have not.
I'm kind of a Paper Mario hater. I've always found them like very glacial. Like I played the first two. I played the N64 one. I was excited for that to come out, and I was just like, this is too long. And I tried the 1,000-Year Door for like 10 hours or something. I was like, I cannot, I like Super Paper Mario, but that's a totally different thing. That's not even like,
it's still a good game.
Yeah, I really like that game. But like the turn-based ones just typically in the humor, just I don't think it's funny or whatever. But like, yeah, but the way you're describing this actually kind of intrigues me. I like weird stuff like that. So
yeah, it's definitely weird. And on the
Very
last
weird.
episode that we did, this is not one of my picks. Just it's only not one of my picks because I literally just talked about it. But if you haven't heard of Knuckle Sandwich, you have to fucking go look this shit up.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Look it up.
Oh my god,
It looks so
every
cool,
single
dude.
person on the episode last time, they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then within like 10 seconds, they were like, "Oh, what the fuck? This looks crazy."
Is this like on Steam or something, or like some
Yeah.
sort of...
It's on Steam.
Like WarioWare
so-
meets Earthbound. Jerry hit it.
Yeah.
What?
Yes. So it's like, think, you know how Undertale did the whole like, hey, you can actually not fight anything and you can do everything passively.
Uh-huh.
It's not like that, but it is like that. Like all the battle system is like mini games, but then it's also intermingled with turn-based combat.
Fuck yeah.
That sounds insane. That
And
sounds
it also-
clinically insane.
Yeah, and it also has like Earthbound vibes like crazy.
I fuck with that.
Yeah, I'm
real-
looking at a video. I'm looking at a video right now. Yeah, this is what the hell is this? This is something.
Wishlist this or buy it right fucking now. Both of you.
Oh,
Even
it came
by
out in
Friday.
2020. Of course, that's why I missed. I mean, you
No,
talked about the black
so
hole of the Rona.
It got I think it got announced in 2020. It actually only just came out in 2023, like late.
Oh
'Cause
wow, okay.
I just started playing the game because I had this wish listed for so long, and I was like, "Fuck, when is this game coming out?" And like randomly a few weeks ago, I was like, "When is this coming out?" I go onto my wish list. I'm like, "Wait, there's a $sign on this. Does that mean I can buy this?" And I was like, "Wait, this is out? What the fuck?" So I just
$1, please.
yeah, I think it's pretty cheap. It's not terribly expensive, and I don't think it's a terribly long game either.
Yeah,
But-
that's I think again that's like kind of a problem with the Paper Mario stuff for me, especially the first one. I was like
They're long.
30 hours in, I was like,
Yeah.
I was already kind of tired of this 2 worlds ago. I really, but I get it. People really love those games. I guess they're just not for me. But the way you describe the Origami King is definitely interesting.
Do it. You will not be like.
At least look up like,
I can't say
like
that-
a gameplay
yeah,
video. Or,
I
yeah.
can't say that
okay.
you won't be disappointed with Paper Mario because it's still Paper Mario. It's just that the combat is very unique. I've never seen anything like the combat before.
Combat can
And if-
carry sometimes.
And if you don't like the combat, then throw that in the garbage and go straight to Knuckle Sandwich. And I promise you'll like that.
Well,
So
we
you're-
just talked about combat carrying in Sea of Stars, so I mean, yeah, sometimes it can carry for me.
I like that you're telling Andre to go out and buy Paper Mario, the Origami King,
And
and he
then
doesn't
throw it in
like
the
it.
garbage.
Yeah, throw in the garbage, thereby wasting $60, and then go spend another $20 on Knuckle Sandwich, which he may or may not like, and then throw that in the trash.
Yeah, I will say delete from my Steam library.
Do you want a refund, Mr. Andre? No.
Or, I mean, if you
fuck out of
want,
my
you can get one of those coveted Switch emulators and just throw that on and see if you like it.
Coveted. Jesus Christ.
No thanks. I like being out of jail. That implies that I've been in jail, which I have not been in.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
My first pick. I'm doing my absolute damnedest to not talk about the fucking press turn combat system from recent Shin Megami Tensei games because I talk about that literally every episode.
I'll do it for you later. Don't worry.
Okay, cool, awesome. Listeners, if you want to hear me talk about it, I think it was our favorite combat systems with the pre-order bonus podcast, boys. That was good. Yeah, Andre will talk about it, and then I'll also join in with him about that. But have either of you guys ever played Tokyo Mirage Sessions?
Yes.
Thank you, Andre.
I have also I didn't play it personally, but I've seen somebody play a little bit.
Oh my god,
dude,
it's good.
The combat.
Sing to me.
The combat is so fucking cool, dude. Okay, so Tokyo Mirage Sessions is basically this like fusion, this collaboration between Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei. Just it's basically like Persona instead of high school sim shit. You get all these kids who work for this talent agency, and like each character excels in something different. Like one character is like she's a cooking show, another character is a musician, another one's like a pop idol or something like that. And instead of personas, they have what are called mirages, which are based off of different Fire Emblem characters. Like the main character, his mirage is Chrom from Fire Emblem Awakening. Another one is Tharja, who's also from Awakening. And then there's a bunch from like the very first Fire Emblem game. And each character has they represent like a different weapon type, and they have different like elements of spells and shit like that too. So the combat is based very heavily on the press turn system, which I will not talk about, but I'll talk about this one, which is close to it. So when you strike an enemy weakness, I guess your characters, as you develop and grow the bonds between different characters, you'll unlock these passive abilities that basically trigger whenever a character strikes a certain enemy's weakness or uses a certain element of attack or type of attack, like spear or bow or sword or something. So say one character strikes the enemy with a sword, that'll automatically trigger another character to come in, do a spear attack. Oh, you did spear attack? Guess I'll hop in with a lightning attack. And then it's basically just this like ongoing stackable chain of attacks.
It's so good.
And at any point, you can also activate, there's like another kind of, I think it's called a session attack, I think. Yes. And they'll do like a duet between two characters, or do this big special move, and it'll kind of end the combo almost, but you can still keep like, it'll end the combo, but you can still keep it going and like restacking attacks again and again and again. And it's just this fucking chain of like, any single time I got into a battle, I would keep track of like the highest number I got in a chain, and I would just be like, okay, well now I need to beat 46 combo. And yeah, it's really fucking cool, man. It's the coolest shit ever.
Visually though, what's going on, it looks like a performance on damn near a stage. That's the greatest thing about it. It's not just that you're chaining these things together. It looks literally like you said, they're training to be pop idols or whatever they're doing. By the way, I love the American guy in that game. He's fucking amazing. He's like insane, like an insane weeb. It's just it's perfect. They played it perfectly. They knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah, it's the visual of it too. It literally looks like a musical performance, like the most lavish thing you've ever seen. I know it never will because Nintendo, but God, I wish I could see that game in like 60 frames a second, or like on real hardware. I mean, that's the reason why I double dipped on Shin Megami Tensei 5 on PS5, because I'm like, I want to see this shit.
I literally just said this. I just said this, that the Switch version, when I seen that, and I was like, I think I hope this gets a PC port. Sure enough, it comes out on PC.
Yeah, sure does. And there isn't a whole lot of games that I feel that way. It's not like I sit around and think like, oh man, I wish Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, like, look, of course I do, but it's not like, okay, whatever, it looks how it looks. This is one of those games where that visual component is so necessary, where I would love for it to look as good as possible. But yeah, it looks great as it is. I'm not trying to diss of what it looks like right now, because it is amazing. Almost said calligraphy, but that's writing with a pen. The choreography, that's not a word.
Choreography.
The choreography. My fucking God, I know the words of the English language.
Yeah. turn your head and cough twice, Caligula.
Caligula. My favorite turn-based combat, Caligula. But yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. It is an incredible game and an incredible battle system to look at and fun to do. Visuals are, that's something. Can I ask you guys like a Fine Time style, like philosophical question here?
Hit me with
How much does that, like, here's the thing, like if Tokyo Mirage Sessions looks like shit, nobody cares. It's not fun. yeah, it might still be some fun to like stack that stuff on top of each other. And I know like so far we've been talking about mechanics and how you do stuff and the way they work in concert, LOL concert. But if a game does not look good, it just falls apart. So like how much are we really talking about like the mechanics of something and how fun it is to do versus like, well, I mean, it's like what you said about Paper Mario the Origami King. It's the visual of it, right? It's the dial, it's a turn. It's not just literally what you're doing. It's like, here are these flat 2D objects doing this like 3D thing. That's very appealing. So I think that kind of has to be factored in, right? But I don't think some people would. I think some people just take the nuts and bolts of it and say that's the fun part. So I guess it just depends.
I agree with you, man.
100%.
Like,
yep, I'm with you.
I struggle to think of a good example of where the combat looked like shit but played well. But I 100% agree. Like that. I mean, maybe that's why I love Tokyo Mirage Sessions and even like Bravely Default and shit like that. Maybe that's why I enjoy the combat and that so much, is because not only does it play great, it looks fucking great. Like you get all these cool fucking animations to go along with everything that kind of keep you visually stimulated and hooked. And you're like, dude, I wonder what this special attack is going to look like this time. And it's a dude on a fucking motorcycle running down 3 like circus clown enemies or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's I mean, Octopath obviously also looks insane. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's a component that I think is not like, I'm trying. Oh, you know what? I have an example for myself of a game that like plays well but looks like shit. And I'm sorry, I know this is going to make people mad, but I don't care. It's Lunar. I think Lunar doesn't really look that good. I don't
like the look of Lunar either.
I've never liked the way those games look, but they're actually, it's actually like, fun to play.
Chibi. I don't like chibi looking things.
You don't like chibi? See, I do like chibi. I like Super Deformed, right? I like that stuff, but I don't know. Lunar just does, like, visually does not do it for me. Even like the PSP version that came out like in the late 2000s, I think. Like, even that remake was just like, by the way, that remake is ghetto as hell. They still use the exact same like cutscenes from the PS1 version, like in 4:3, like the exact same thing. They didn't update those at all, but the entire rest of the game is 16:9 redrawn, beautiful, like PSP art. But then they just stuck in those other. It's like, was this like a placeholder and they didn't get to make new ones? Like, I don't understand what happened here. Anyway, point is, Lunar, I think, is like the one example I have of that. Plays well, looks like shit.
That makes sense, man.
Yeah.
I haven't played a whole lot of any Lunar game.
Trey, what's your next pick?
Yeah.
Me? Okay, you know what? I'll talk about this one. I am not a strategy RPG guy, right? Like, I'm straight up too dumb to play them. I always try, but I just never succeed. I all they do is piss me off, and then I take it out on everyone around me. Sorry, Steve, but like, if there's an exception to this rule, if there's poor Steve, he's put up with a lot of shit for me. If there's an exception to this rule, it is Shining Force, and specifically Shining Force CD. Which is what I want to talk about today. Because, like, when it comes down to it, like, strategy RPG encounters are, like, the simplest ones that there are, right? Mechanically, because you just go to unit, press attack, they do the thing that they're going to do, and, you know, and depending on the game, if it's, like, Advanced Wars, you're shooting missiles at the airplanes, okay, that's going to do big dick damage, right? But, like, if you don't...
big penis damage.
Big penis, sorry. We always say big dick damage.
Whip out them big dicks and show me them damages.
We always say big dick damage on Fine Time. We also say, like, if we're talking about versions of games, we say, like, you know, there's a special edition and then the basic bitch version. We always say basic bitch. So, but yeah, you do big damage to them. But like, Shining Force doesn't have like a whole lot of that. As far as like the units just sort of move how you want them to move. And that's like the strategy of the game, taking your 10 units in there of like, okay, I have like some centaur people that can cover a lot of ground. I have some monks who can attack and heal. I have a straight up healer. I have a black mage type. I have 2 birdmen that can fly all around the map and it could ignore all the other stuff and just go wherever they want, even though they're weak. And I love Shining Force because they let you play however you want to play. There's a lot of strategy RPGs where it's like, you better take these fucking like archers or whatever, or you're not getting past this. And Shining Force just doesn't have that. You can truly play how you want, and you might think that would make the game like dull or something because it might be so generic. Okay, this is meant to be played with any types of units, but it really doesn't work that way. It's I guess I should have set up for. Are either you guys like Shining Force people? Have you ever
big Shining Force stand right here?
Play them.
Big stand right here.
I got into it because during the pandemic, or shortly before the pandemic, it was like February 2020. I got a Genesis Mini, and I did, and that turned out to be a great call because we were locked in our houses for God knows how long, right? So on that Genesis Mini is Shining Force. And I was like, I'm not going to play. But I got bored enough during lockdown where I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You know what I mean? I'll try a little bit. I'll see until it pisses me off and I'll turn it off. And it never pissed me off. Like I really enjoyed playing it. I was like, I can't believe I like this. So I played Shining Force that way. I played Shining Force 2 when it came out on Genesis Mini on Genesis Nintendo Switch Online. And then Shining Force CD was on the Genesis Mini 2. And so that's how I mostly played that one. And I'm picking Shining Force CD in particular because almost like Octopath, it's like 95% the same, right? Like the Shining Forces are very like similar to each other.
Yeah.
CD, I think, just has the best map design and scenario design, which is like interesting to talk about in the context of like a battle system, because that's what a strategy RPG is. It is map design too. It's not just like I said, the nuts and bolts of it are very easy. Go to unit, press attack, whatever.
Yeah.
The map design, when you factor that into it, makes it what it is, obviously. Aren't you, Aaron? You're a big fan of triangle strategy. Right?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, and that's too much for me. I'm too dumb to play that game, but like the map design of that game is like pretty impeccable. I think you would agree. I think it's very cool. So like, and I think I don't know. I just think that's very interesting to consider when we're talking about like turn-based stuff, to be like literally the placement of things. But anyway, yeah, Shining Force CD is a great game. I think if anyone out there was gonna fire up their archival things on their computer and find a Shining Force to play, I think that would be it.
Dude, what I love about Shining Force so much ties into what you were saying earlier too about the whole like visual representation of the battles and shit. Like if it don't look good, it'd be sucking. It'd be big sucking.
Yep.
Not really, but yeah. so many strategy RPGs of the time, they'll just be like say Tactics Ogre. It'll just be like you move an enemy to a unit and you select attack and they just go bonk and then that's it. It'll be like, oh, 30 damage. That's it. All right, turn done. But like Shining Force, no, they do this whole grandiose like battle scene, where you're looking over the shoulder of your character, and they do like an attack animation, and then the enemy is like, oh. And then it's like,
it's the classic Camelot viewpoint, you know, of like their RPGs. That's where it started, I think, in Shining Force, you know, that classic over the shoulder, big sprite here, enemy in the back, you know? Yeah, that's kind of the classic like Camelot view. So like, and it's so great. Yeah.
Camelot games.
Oh my God. I wish they still had the personnel to make RPGs. They obviously don't. But they just, now they're Mario Sports forever. I love Mario Sports. I'm not even trying to diss. I'm just saying that like that's all they really have the capacity for. But yeah, you're right. The battle animations are so good in all the Shining Forces is. And Shining Force CD is great about it too, since they don't have to worry about space anymore. They can have so many different types of them and so many different more types of units and all sorts of types of enemies to jam in that space. Now they don't have to worry about, well, this game's going to cost $100 if we add like a few more sprites, so it's the giving them the freedom to do that is just great. It's a really, really good game.
Hell yeah, man. All of those Shining Force games are so fucking good. I haven't played a whole lot of 3 though, but I mean I've heard that it's good.
I think my Japanese is now just mediocre enough where I could maybe play those, maybe. But I'll have to try.
My Japanese is terrible enough that I'm sure I could offend somebody.
I want to see Jared, or not. Oh my God, not Jared. Sorry,
Jared.
What's wrong with me? I want to see Jerry live streaming Shining Force 3 Scenario 2, totally in Japanese, and you're like trying to pick apart the kanji. You're like, yeah, okay, yep, all right. And you're writing stuff down, trying to translate, and you're like, I eat horse meat. Why does this guy eat horse meat? This game makes no fucking sense. And you're just ragging on the game the entire time for having shitty.
I do know horse meat if that popped up, so I would be able to recognize that.
Okay, good. Okay.
You've had horse meat?
Thanks, Duolingo.
There is a kanji combo for horse meat. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. I guess maybe back in the day they ate horse meat. I guess because I don't know why else that word would exist.
I'm sure a horse tastes fine.
Probably really fucking tough.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm worried about. You probably have to cook it like pot roast.
Isn't a moose just a horse that's big and brown?
Yeah.
A moose is just a cold horse.
A moose is just a horse with antlers? Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's a unicorn horse.
Speaking of horse meat, what's your next pick, Jerry?
Speaking of horse meat.
Speaking of canned
reindeer. I dabbled around a lot of different things when I was trying to pick some of my picks. Stuff like Baldur's Gate came to mind as of recent turn-based stuff because that game was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, might be a bit of recency bias. It's not. That game is incredible. But I wanted to dig a little further. I wanted to find something a little weirder. Not that it's weird. And this, again, I'm a retro guy through and through. But if you haven't played Horse Meat 64, no, I'm just kidding.
Super Horse Meat.
If you haven't played Vagrant Story,
oh my god, hell yeah, dude!
Which is a very different type of turn-based combat. It's turn-based, but it almost has like the Fallout VATS system, where like you're targeting different body parts and stuff. And this is a game that has kind of like it hasn't eluded me or anything. It's just I always want to go and play this game and then something else gets in the way. And I swear to God, 2026 is going to be my year that I finally play Vagrant Story.
You're making a promise.
I'm setting aside some time.
It's not very long. Like it's pretty short. No, it's like 10 hours. I think.
Like maybe. I think it might be more, but you might be right. I'm not sure. I know that it is considered a short game.
Yeah.
But again, it's another game where the combat itself is like the standout for the game itself. And I would encourage anybody, if you could play this any way you can, emulator, you want to go and buy it. If you have an OG PS1 just kicking around, play this game. If you're into turn-based RPGs, play this game. Because the combat is fantastic. And it's not really like anything else that I've seen before. There hasn't, like, again, other than the Fallout VAT system, that's really the only thing I can compare it to.
That's a good comparison. I have played this game. I played it in like 2003 or 4 or so well into the next generation. But I always heard about this game and I was like, I want to try it. There was a pawn shop where I lived at the time, literally across the street from me. And I remember going there being so pissed. They had Dragon Warrior, at the time, 7 on the shelf. But they only had disc 2. I was like,
fuck?
Yeah, what the hell is that? So I was pissed. I was like, oh my God, a Dragon Warrior 7. Okay, that's useless. But next to that, they had a Vagrant Story. So I was like, oh man, I've heard of this one too. I would have been sending
a fucking SWAT team to those guys.
I know, right? Like, how can you only
shut
turn
this
in
shit down, you fucking illegals?
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Like, only selling disc 2, that has to be against the U.S. Constitution. It has to.
It's illegal. It's illegal.
But anyway, I got the Vagrant Story. I came home and I fucking hated it. So here's the thing, and this is 20 years ago. I want to try that game again and see if I missed something. Now I'm 42. I'm much more mature, supposedly.
You're ripe, much wiser.
Yeah, I'm ripe. I want to see, because here's the thing. It looks so cool, and I've heard so much good things about it.
Dre is ready to be turned into a fine wine.
I have to wait till 52 to get to be a fine wine. But yeah, I hated it, man. I could not stand it. So again, I want to play it again and see if I missed something. I probably did. I really feel like I did. That was one that I always look back on. It's like, did I really give it a fair shake? I tried it for like 4 hours. I gave it like...
So you almost beat the game.
So I almost beat the game according to Aaron. I don't know. I feel like I missed something. I feel like I wasn't understanding some mechanic or something. I want to try
I did the same goddamn thing with Parasite Eve 1 because I owned Parasite Eve 2 and I got that one because I was like, in a magazine they said it's like Resident Evil. So I was like, oh, this has got to be fucking wild. And I liked Parasite Eve 2, but it was definitely different from a Resident Evil.
It's not like it, yeah.
I didn't realize how different it was from Parasite Eve 1.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve 1 is a completely different game. Mm-hmm. They're not even the same genre of game. Like Parasite Eve 1 was another one that I just was like, I don't need that one, I guess. And it wasn't until like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago that I went back to it.
I could understand how you feel. Someone could feel that way about Parasite Eve. Didn't quite click with me either. I remember my friend let me borrow it, and I was just like, I think this is okay, but I don't really get. And then I watched him play it, and he was doing some stuff that was different from me, and I forget what now because it's been so goddamn long. Because I'm so old and fine-wined. But then I remember thinking like, oh, you can try that. That's what I'm hoping will happen with Vagrant Story. I feel like if I go back, I will find something that I missed the first time. Yeah,
sure. Have they brought Vagrant Story to like? Because I know they bring a lot of like PS1 and PS2 games to PlayStation 5. Is Vagrant Story on there yet?
It might be. So. There's a lot of PS1 RPGs. There's like Legend of Dragoon. There's
I'm sure
Vagrant Story might be on there. Actually, I'm not sure, but it could be. It seems like something they would do.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's so good.
It's not.
It's definitely worth a look. At the very least, it's worth a look.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic. I love like the text bubbles. They're very like comic booky, like in a cool way. I liked all that stuff. So it was just a battle system. I just
what was another, not to get too off track here, but what was another really cool Squaresoft, I guess RPG that kind of I remember playing it at a friend's house because he rented it, and I was like, is this good? This doesn't look that good. And then years and years later, I was like, oh yeah, that game that my friend was playing that one time that I just remembered for no reason. And I went onto the internet and I downloaded it and threw it on an emulator. And god damn it, is Brave Fencer Musashi a good fucking game.
Wow. I thought my friend rented it at the time. We thought the voice acting was like funny and stuff. It was like kind of cute.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I have a thing with stamina bars sometimes where they really, really piss me off. I almost feel like no game should have them. That's like my video game doctrine. Stamina bars should go out the window. And I kind of felt that way about that, but I still liked it. I thought it was like interesting, right? Yeah, that's definitely a good game.
It's as close as Squaresoft has ever gotten to one of my favorite games of all time, Mystical Ninja 64.
I've never played it. I've never played a Goemon game.
Dre,
believe it or not, I don't know how.
If you don't do anything tonight,
tell him, Jerry.
I need you to play. I need.
Okay,
it's a need.
You turn the game
he has a mighty need.
It's not a want. It's a need.
Okay, gotcha.
I need
Mystical Ninja
to play Mystical Ninja 64 or Goemon's Great Adventure. I strongly recommend Mystical Ninja 64 because it's really fucking good and very accessible.
I've always heard so.
Or if you can't do that, just emulate some of the Super Nintendo ones. There's lots of fan translations and stuff out now.
Oh yeah, there's a ton, but I think we only got like one here, right? One of them.
And they just announced that the Switch is getting that spiritual successor, which I think is called like
I saw that.
Back on or something.
That sounds right.
I don't know what
bacon and pepperoni.
And
pepperoni.
Bacon
pepperoni nipples.
You can't after the show. I already described my nipples on this show as milk duds and pepperoni, all interchangeably. So you're gonna find out which one they are.
I've never been more confused and aroused
Patreon
at the
exclusive.
Same time. Patreon exclusive nips.
Dude, speaking of nips, should we take an ad break?
Let's take an ad break.
I think we should. Let's pop those tops off.
It's about that time. All right, folks. We'll be right back.
Guys Gone Wild.
let's take a minute to thank the real sponsors of SuperPod Saga, the real MVPs, the real stars of the show, the official superstars, I guess, the patrons. Each and every one of you is a superhero, and I really mean that. It means just the world to me. But yeah, thank you a lot. It's so cool, so awesome. Let's thank all of them. Let's go. A Novel Console, Jared Schrader, Jameson Empire, Adam Phineas, Trey, Adam Forrester, Jeff Miners, Jenny E, Kevin Demo, Thrack, Mr. Kwong, Matt aka Stormageddon. Every single one of you are just the best. I'm giving you a big huge salute right now. You can't see it because I'm a dingus, but yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the bonus content. If anybody out there listening to this wants to subscribe to the Patreon and get some cool bonus content, help out the show, help me, help Jerry, whoever, there's a link in the episode description, or just go to patreon.com/superpodsaga. It's all there. There's 2 tiers, $4 a month. All of you guys, thank you so much, and hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. If you're a fan of coffee and you're looking for something different, I think we've got just the thing for you. That's Bones Coffee. Bones Coffee is not your usual coffee company. Of course, it's all sugar-free, gluten-free, all that stuff, because it's just coffee, nothing added to it. But they roast each batch of coffee beans to your order, and they've got just a bazillion different flavors to choose from. They've got your usual French vanilla, salted caramel, they've got Irish cream, of course they've got decaf, single origin coffees like Kenya, Guatemala, stuff like that, even what they call high voltage, which is extra strength, extra caffeine. But they have all sorts of other awesome kind of out of the box flavors. They've got ones like cotton candy, maple bacon, and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. And they're always coming up with new crossover flavors, like they've done a bunch for Nightmare Before Christmas, Indiana Jones, even Spider-Man, of all things. And they're also coming up with new seasonal flavors all the time. If this sounds right up your alley, feel free to use the link in our episode description and use coupon code SuperPodSaga at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's SuperPodSaga at checkout to get 20% off your order. And if you're not just in the market for coffee, you can also get some sweet mugs. They've got lots of cool shirts. They've got all sorts of different brewing equipment like French presses, stuff like that. Just head on over to bonescoffee.com, or again, use the link in our episode description and get 20% off. Get yourself a new interesting flavor and spice up your morning routine with Bones Coffee. I really hope you enjoy. I'm a really big fan of it, and I hope you find one that really hooks you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Oh, dude. Oh, boy. Hey, Jerry.
Yes, Aaron?
I know you love a good drink. How do you feel about mixers? Do you enjoy mixers with your drink, mixing your drink with shit?
Buddy, I mix it up every night.
Mix it up, okay. What if I were to tell you
mixing and splitting and shitting and
splitting
pissing
and pissing and hissing and
splitting, shitting, pissing?
That's a great combo. What? So yeah, we all know and love the original mixers like ginger beer, orange juice, pineapple juice, whatever. What if I were to tell you there's a way to have a solid as a drink mixer, or like any other kind of food as a drink mixer? I'll come up with the name in a little bit. You can grind down almost anything into a liquid and use it as a drink mixer. The solid mixer maker, I don't know. Everybody, you could take a full ass ham, just immersion blend that into a
throw a rum
liquid.
Ham in the mix.
Yeah, and then throw in the cocktail shaker with some gin. Ham and gin cocktail, baby. There you go.
Pop an olive in that bitch. Oh my god.
Pop an olive, dude. And like a little one of those like garnish toothpicks. You got like a cocktail onion, an olive, a fucking piece of crispy bacon.
I know exactly what you're talking about now. You know, I kind of forgot who the sponsor was, but I do remember this. They sent us some free kits. I threw a lasagna in one, and then threw root beer on top of that, and then just a touch of asparagus. Just I wanted to see if I can get my piss to smell like lasagna, asparagus, cancer. Just for a minute.
Piss.
Lasagna piss, my favorite kind of piss. Really, I mean, if you,
dude, I feel like blending up a lasagna that'd just be the same thing as a Bloody Mary. Just like a shot of vodka with some immersion blended fucking liquefied lasagna. That's just a Bloody Mary.
Was that a hint of sausage in there? Yes.
Ooh, yummy, yummy, yummy.
Also, I mean, you can't go wrong with throwing a little General Tso's chicken in there. Just throw a little bit of that in there, along with, now hear me out, along with a little peppermint and just a dash of gasoline. And get you fired up.
Yeah. Really wakes up the taste buds, I say.
It really does. One of my new favorites, thanks to this sponsor, one of my new favorites is taking completely frozen chicken nuggets. Don't cook them. Don't thaw them out. Don't nothing. Just completely frozen chicken nuggets.
Or regular?
Dinosaur, obviously. It has to be dinosaur.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't, you fucking around.
Not basic bitch nuggets.
Exactly, dude. Not those fucking potato-shaped nuggets. It's bullshit. Dinosaur, nothing. So completely frozen dinosaur chicken nuggets. Toss in some Mountain Dew Code Red. And then maybe like a shot of peppermint schnapps. There you go. Nice Christmassy beverage. Maybe crack an egg in there, like eggnog, but minus the
Aaron,
milk.
I can taste.
We should probably let the listeners know that if you're struggling to find recipe ideas, you can go to the website that is aligned with this, mixshit.org. And you just go there, and it's just recipe after recipe after recipe. My favorite one that I picked up off of mixshit.org is probably you take a can of compressed air, you spray the compressed air into it, and then just rum.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
That reminds
compressed air and rum.
That reminds me. So I binge Bar Rescue like all the time, and they always bring in like a little smoker gun to like smoke the drink.
I have one of those.
That sounds like that, but yeah, with compressed air, it adds that like metallic like I don't know, yeah, metallic kind of taste to it. Cold. Andre, what's your favorite new beverage that you've cooked up from mixshit.org?
Oh my god. I keep it classic. I like to keep it in the same family of flavors, so I'll take the pepperoni pizza, I'll take the olive pizza, all the single topping pizzas, right? The artichoke heart pizza, I'll put them all in, put in the wings, the garlic parmesan wings, put in a couple cheesy breadstick or two, and then you have like a nice pizza blend. It's all the pizza, it's all in the pizza family, but you get all of it. Top it off with some Pepsi if you like Pizza Hut, top it off with some Coke if you like Domino's, right? You can kind of flavor that up, and you'll get to those flavors that way. It's really great.
Flavor it up.
Then you got a
slogan.
Flavor it up. Alcohol too. It's a drink mixture. You got to add maybe like just throw in a can of Busch Light. There you go.
Now
you're getting
MGD. You guys are familiar. You guys are familiar with
genuine draft.
Fuck. You guys are familiar with a Jaeger bomb, right?
Oh yeah.
So, on mixshit.org, they have they have just a slight altercation. Not altercation, sorry, that's a fight. Just a slight alteration to the standard recipe for a Jaeger bomb. So what you do is, and now this is going to be very specific, and some folks might not be able to do this, but let me tell you, I've tried this myself, and it is fantastic. What you want to do is you want to get the standard recipe for Jaeger bomb, throw a little Red Bull, throw a little Jaeger bomb, and just a pinch of grandma's ashes. Just a little bit. Just throw those in there. It gives it like a very milky substance. You want to really spice it up? Throw grandpa's ashes in there too. Kablam! Dynamite.
Get a lime wedge to garnish the side of the drink. Here you go.
Sure.
It's the cremation.
All right, let's not get carried away, Aaron.
I mean, come on.
Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah, that's too much.
I mean, please. I mean, this is a family show.
Yeah.
But mothers lock up your daughters or whatever the fuck.
Don't know what to do with those old iPhones? Throw them right in the fucking blender. Mixshit.org.
That's right. These blenders are specially made to pulverize any solid or semi-solid matter into a fine liquid. You can see right through it. I guess you can't see through most liquids. It turns solids or mostly solids into a liquid is what I'm trying to say here.
Sorry, go.
I was gonna say say for instance you want to take an entire orange with the peel. Take that entire fucking orange with the peel, blend it along with we'll say just like an entire can of Mountain Dew. in the can still. Keep it in the can. You gotta have that little extra bit.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, and then smart. And then you do a couple dashes of bitters, which I only learned from Bar Rescue, and maybe top it off with some sparkling soda and some tequila. Delicious.
Now, Aaron, should we tell them about the DLC? I think we should tell them about the DLC.
Please tell
Gotta
me.
have DLC.
It has the DLC. Let me tell you. If you go to mixshit.org and you use the code SuperPod Saga, you're gonna get an unlock for the DLC.
You're gonna get fucking killed.
And what that does is it gives you themed recipes, okay? We got Lion King, we got Taco Bell, Barack Obama, 2 Girls, 1 Cup. We got fucking all of that shit.
I can't wait.
Is the 2 Girls, 1 Cup just like a cup and shit blended together?
With some peppermint schnapps.
Just in time for Christmas.
Oh hey, God. Grandma, come out here. I want to show you the Christmas tree.
Jerry, this smells like shit.
Shut the fuck up, Grandma, and just drink your shit.
Oh, my favorite one is the...
Trey's gonna have a heart attack.
My favorite one is the Pinocchio, where you just take a wooden fucking puppet, and blend it up with a cricket, toss in a cricket, and then just a little bit. We'll go with more mint schnapps because I can't get enough of that shit.
Is that in the theme DLC? Is that in the DLC? I think it is.
It's in the DLC cookbook.
It's definitely in the DLC.
SuperPod Saga recipe book, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah. Act now.
69% off.
99.99.
4 easy payments of 69, 69, 69, 69. Call now. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Mixshit.org.
Mixshit.org.
Mixshit.org. Andre, thank the sponsor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, mixshit.org. I very much appreciate your sponsoring of SuperPod Saga.
We're back.
Where are we? Where?
Back.
Whoa. What? Who?
Are we back?
Ooh.
Wait. Let me check my watch. We're back.
Okay.
Let me check my sundial.
Let me check my balls. We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
What's this lump?
It's his balls. Weren't you listening?
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Damn it. It was Jerry's turn last, right? Because you did
Vagrant
Story.
Okay.
So
listen up. Here's a story. I'm gonna talk
about a
about
little guy
who likes to play
in-
Grandia 2.
Oh, we're here. We're finally here.
We're here, dude.
Oh.
Okay. So,
Tell me about it, because I've never played it.
Oh, Jerry.
You're gonna hear all about it next month on Fine Time. I'll tell you that much.
Andre and I gushed all about it. Oh man.
Is it Grandia or Grandia?
Oh, you say Grandia.
Yeah,
I don't know. I say Grandia.
Yeah, we said Grandia for like 2 hours.
So I hope that's it.
I guess I'm just saying the Canadian way.
Grandia.
Grandia.
So
Grandia.
So yeah, Grandia 2, Grenadine 2.
Grenadine 2.
It's like is this
shit that'll work?
It's this cool. It's this cool mix of like turn-based and like kind of like a strategy RPG in a way, kind of. So like throughout combat, there's this little timeline on the bottom of the screen, and your party members and the enemies, you all move along this timeline. Most of it is you're in the wait period, basically at the ATB gauge, kind of in
almost
Final Fantasies,
almost.
Yeah. And then you get to this small section where you input commands for your characters, and then you have to, depending on like what level their attacks are or their spells and shit, you might have to wait a little bit for them to actually execute their attacks. So combat a lot of the time is this like choreographed dance. You'll have to, because your characters, if they're too like, if you choose, say you choose like Ryudo, the main character, to go do a melee attack against this like fucking bug, and if the characters have to move up to an enemy and get within range to be able to do a melee attack. So if the enemy maybe moves too far to the right, Ryudo will get tired because he ran too much and won't be able to do his attack. So
I love that little sweat marks is like, whoop, that's enough for me, I guess. No more turn. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to anticipate like when enemies are going to you basically you can time your attacks to do Andre, help me out. I'm blanking a little bit.
I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're good.
No, you could. So basically, I think the best way to say it is like you can almost like what I was saying about Octopath with the break system, where it's like you can prevent them from attacking, and that's like the name of the game.
Yeah,
that's also the name of the game in Grandia too. You got it now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So your melee attacks, you can choose between like a combo attack, which would be like more than one attack in a row, or a critical attack, and yeah, so with your combo attacks, you'll do more than one hit against or one or more hits against an enemy, and you can use that to either like delay their turn to where maybe like one of your other characters can come in and combo more attacks on them and just clobber them and just fucking annihilate them. Or if you do a critical attack when an enemy has inputted a command or has chosen a command or whatever, you can just cancel out their fucking turn, and that even works against bosses, which is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah, because that's the name of the game. Because like if you really, when those bosses are gearing up for their like big ass spells, they're big dick spells. I'm sorry, big dick spells.
Yeah.
When they're gearing up for the big dick spells, you can literally just cancel them out of doing anything, provided again, like you said, spatially you're close enough to be able to. It's like okay, you look at the gauge, and when that thing fills up, he does the attack. So you kind of have to gauge, okay, if I'm Ryudo again, do I have time to run up to him, wind up the cancel attack, and actually like do it?
Yeah.
Or should I just sit here and eat it and use defend? And that's one thing I like about Grandia 2 as well, is that the defense option is actually really useful. I feel like in a lot of RPGs, it feels like an afterthought. It's like, I don't know what else to do. I'll just defend. In Grandia 2, it becomes almost like, you know, you understand that you can't prevent them from doing this. So the defense, and you defend a lot too. It's not just like half damage. It's like a lot.
Yeah.
So when you choose that, it's very useful to keep yourself alive from like a devastating attack that you know you can't prevent. And then as the game goes along, your cancel attacks, like especially your like character specific special moves, those will get faster and faster to the point of almost being like instant. You know, like I loved getting like Elena's impact bomb. Here comes my impact bomb, all the way up to like 5 stars or whatever, because that shit is like instant. You can cancel, you can get in front of anybody in line, and it's very you know, I love that kind of like power. I don't know if power creep is the right term, but like you feel so much more powerful throughout the game as you get to the end. Yeah,
and same with Ryudo's flying Tensei. Sky, take flight. Flying Tensei Ken.
I love it. It's so good.
And like even the original, dude. With
is
those
this for PS2?
Dreamcast.
Yeah, don't play the PS2 version.
Really?
Yeah, it's the worst one. I would say emulate Dreamcast or play Grandia HD.
I have a Dreamcast.
I would definitely go that way. It was still the era of Dreamcast games on PS2 ports to PS2 just not being that good, and Grandia 2 is one of them.
I keep hearing this too. I keep hearing a lot of people be like, "Oh, that's a really good PS2 game, but it's better on Dreamcast."
Yeah. It just wasn't like, in like 2000, 2001, like the early Dreamcast ports just did not work. I don't know. They just weren't as good.
Another one too that I, not to get too off topic here, but Mach X is on Dreamcast.
Ooh.
Really fucking cool game.
Great
it's in
game.
first person. And it got ported to, I think, PS2?
It did.
And it's not as good.
Yeah. It's just not as good. I don't. I'm not even sure they came here. I played it on emulation like not too long ago. Yeah, it's just not as good. It's better on Dreamcast. Yeah, I don't know why a lot of those games.
Really fucking cool.
It's such a good game. That's like the first Megaten game of any type that I've ever played, honestly. So it's.
Oh really?
Yeah. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, but Grandia 2, definitely, anyone out there curious about it, definitely play the HD version that's around on everything now, or play it on Dreamcast if you can. But yeah, I love like I was saying about Octopath, your offense is your defense. It definitely is here, man, because you need to really keep them off of you, and if you don't, you can die pretty fast. It's not like a super hard game, Grandia 2, but as long as you keep on top of it and you understand what the battle system is giving you and how to utilize those things, because if you don't, you're going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly. But as long as you keep like relatively good at it, you'll be totally fine.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, and they have a cool. This doesn't really tie into like the topic per se, but the progression system is really cool too, because you can equip different types of like the skill books. You can teach characters different little types of skills that'll in turn give them some like passive abilities in combat. Like this character can move faster, and so you can kind of beef up characters to run faster. So in turn, that'll help you with timing those attacks to go like cancel bosses and shit like that. Or there's like some skills to make the act gauge run faster as well. And yeah, there's all sorts of cool ways to kind of work around the system. Like the graphics are so fucking good. The music is so fucking good. The story is just bonkers and fucking hilarious and the
good. Music is incredible. I rarely enjoyed putting together anything for Fine Time more than us talking about the music of Grandia 2 that will air in a few weeks here. Oh my god, I just loved it. It took me so long because I was just sitting there listening to music for so long. It was just it's just great. Yeah, Grandia 2. I said Octopath is now my favorite turn-based combat. Before that, it was Grandia 2. And you know what? In some ways, it still kind of is. Like if I almost can't even pick now that we talked about it. It's like they're the two tippy tops for me. Tippy tops.
Tippy tops.
Tippy tops. Yeah. So yeah,
tippy titty tops.
Tippy titty tops. Tippy titty tops. We're gonna. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's a different product. We already had our commercial. Yeah, man, I can't say enough good. Oh, I maybe should move on before I get so more deep in the Grandia 2. One of the best, maybe my favorite JRPG overall ever.
Wow.
It's a fucking awesome game, man. I mean, it is your turn, Andre. So you can either talk more about Grandia 2 or pick a different game.
No, we'll talk about that press turn system we mentioned earlier. And I want to talk about it via Shin Megami Tensei 5 in particular. Okay, yeah. and I'm choosing this because, you know, almost like I said about a few different series already, Octopath and Shining Force, most SMT games have relatively the same battle system. There's some like, you know, each one has its own little quirks and twists, right? But for the most part, you know what you're going to get. And those quirks and those quirks and twists and tits really make the game what it is. So why am I picking 5? Is because the game balance and the expression of like character moves and your demons and stuff, I think is what really makes 5 the best at it.
Oh yeah.
Because like, it's kind of like what I said before. Everything I just said about Octopath and Shining Force, none of that means anything.
And shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, it has to look good for one, but for two, the game has to support you doing that stuff. It can have really cool mechanics all at once, but if the game doesn't really let you use them in a way that's like cool, then it's like, okay, yeah, you can do some cool stuff, but how often do you really get to do it? Shin Megami Tensei 5, in my opinion, more than any of the other ones, really lets you do the coolest stuff most often. And I think that's what really makes it what it is. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree, man. Like,
okay.
A good example, I guess, would be like, I really love Shin Megami Tensei 4, but like the combat is all from a first-person perspective, so you don't get to see your demons like doing cool animations to attack, or like how the Nahobino does so many cool animations for those Nahobino specific or exclusive skills like Arrow Rain and shit like that.
Oh, I love Arrow Rain.
Yeah, you don't. Or what was the first one? It's not Nagasaki. It's like something like that. Or I don't know. All the cool animations that the demons and Nahobino can do, all that shit like adds so much flavor to the combat that you wouldn't get in like 4, where it's just like I use Agi and then it's just a poop of fire, or like
Yeah.
or a Nocturne where everything seems so rigid and shit.
That's 3DS for you though, with that fucking. So as you well know, we talked about this before. I don't like 4 very much. It's like one of the few Megaton games I straight up just did not like, and for a lot of reasons. The reasons that you said, but like also just I don't want to get into it. But like, that's fine. Basically, it's the inverse of what I just said about 5. You don't get to do the cool stuff very often. Also, I think the game balance is just kind of fucked in 4. Shin Megami Tensei games are always hard as hell, and that's kind of the point. But I think 4 goes too far. I think it's too heavily weighted against the player, in my opinion. 5 also obviously weighted against the player. It's really hard, but in a way that feels a lot of fun. And that brings me to the press turn system, where basically one of the best ideas in the world, and if anyone who doesn't know what this is, means that if you exploit your enemy's weakness, you get another turn. So if you have like 4 members in your party, you can get an extra 4 turns by just exploiting their weakness. Oh, they're weak to ice? Just keep spamming it. Fuck them. You know, like you can really, and that does as much damage as you think it does. But the thing is, the enemy can also do that to you. And also, like, 1 turn of some boss, if your Nahobino's weak to ice, dead. Done.
Yeah, that means your whole party dies too. If the Nahobino dies.
Yeah, your main character dies, everything's over. So you got to protect him at all. You really don't like that?
I don't like that.
Really?
I don't like. No, not really. Like, I've never been a big fan of like the one character dies and it's all over.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Okay, it doesn't work in every game. To be fair, I think it works in this one. But there is you are right. In some other games, I'm like, come on, should it really be this way? In this game, though, I think it does work. But
okay.
The reason why press turn works is, like I said, the enemy can also do it to you, and that is necessary because, like I said, 4 was probably a bit too much. It was over the top. There's other games, Aaron, like Soul Hackers 2 or something that also uses the press turn system, and I like Soul Hackers 2.
Yeah,
but it's also a really easy game. It's not nearly as hard as Megaton 5. And I think it becomes much less interesting. You need the fear. As I always say on Fine Time, the fear is the fun. You need the fear of the boss being able to absolutely destroy you. Being scared of like everything around each corner is like the reason why being so threatening is why those games are fun. If it's not threatening, the press system doesn't really feel very... It's fine, right? It's not that it's bad, but it comes alive when the game is super tough. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah, so another good example for that, like Shin Megami Tensei, Strange Journey, the DS one, or even like the Redux, it has like a variation of that kind of where like instead of getting another turn or whatever, if you strike a weakness, any demons of like the same alignment or whatever the fuck will attack with you, and then you basically combo attacks together to do more damage. But the press turn system just does it the best, because like in Strange Journey, you don't ever really feel scared because I don't know, the bosses definitely weren't as tough as they are in 5, and 5 also has that what's that shit called where you pick up like you gain that energy, and the energy when it gets to max so you can do like a super move or everybody does a crit.
I forget what the limit breaks are called. Magatsuhi.
Magatsuhi, and also when you strike a crit you get an extra turn as well too. So
yes,
like if an enemy is like, if the enemy is like, they're charging their Magatsuhi or they're charging up a super move or whatever, you can have everybody like defend, because otherwise you'll all fucking die. And
because they're about to do some shit.
You gotta charge up those Maseratis, dude.
Maseratis. I love driving a Maserati.
God, yeah, that press turn system it never feels too one-sided in 5 for sure. It always feels like it's perfectly balanced, and dude, it's great.
It really does, and that's what you need for that kind of system. It needs to be tough and it needs to be balanced, which obviously easier said than done. 4 doesn't get there for me. I'd rather take the easier ones. Like I like Strange Journey. I never played the 3DS version. I only played the original.
Yeah,
and of course I cut my teeth on Digital Devil Saga. Was what really really popped my cherry. So that that also uses the press turn system, and I fell in love with it from there. But yeah, it's you can't beat it for my eyes. I'm surprised I'm picking so many like recent games, but honestly, we've just gotten to a point with JRPGs where they're just so refined, where it's just like when the new ones come out, it's just like, man, this is just the best. We are in a really blessed age for these.
We are, man.
We're in the second golden age of RPGs right now.
We genuinely are. Western and Japanese.
I agree.
What you got, Jerry?
What do I got?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're not even ready for this.
He ain't ready for this jelly.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Pick it up like a good ska song. So
do 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 do.
It's not a ska song.
I was just doing trumpets. That's the first trumpet sound that came into my mind.
You got to do the SNES trumpet if you're gonna,
So, talking about
Trumpets?
horse meat. Call back to horse meat. So, you guys have played the South Park RPGs, right?
I have not.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So the first one is a pretty standard like turn-based system with timed attacks. I'm all in. I love a timed attack. I discovered that I loved RPGs with Super Mario RPG, and that had timed attacks. And ever since then, I've always looked for other games with timed attacks, and there's not a lot of them. So when I discovered the South Park game had these, I was like, oh, maybe this is actually going to be good. Not to mention, I'm a huge South Park fan. So it was a fantastic game. When they announced the Fractured But Whole, I was a little bit like, I feel like they had lightning in a bottle for the first one. Maybe they're not going to be able to dial this in the same for the second one. Nope. They fucking killed it again. And they made it better. And the way that they did it was they made it like a grid-based system. It's still turn-based, but you move on a grid, so like your positioning matters. And to me, I was like, they went above and beyond trying to like build upon what they did with the first one. And I can honestly say it is probably one of the most fun combats that I've seen in recent RPGs. Because yes, this is an RPG. You do level up. You do get equipment. There's shops, whether it's the Shitty Walk or, you're going to...
Shitty Walk.
Take the order, please.
Shitty chicken.
Yeah. So, and it's got all the trappings of a amazing South Park like season. It's got that South Park humor dialed up on 11. But yeah, that combat is what really kept me hooked. Like, they managed to reinvent what they did right with the first one and then add more to it. And I feel like there's not a lot of games that I've come across that are able to go, hey, remember how you really liked that first one? Well, we're going to take that first one and we're going to add to it. Because I find sometimes, I do like change in games and franchises and stuff. But like sometimes I'm like, I kind of just wish you do the same thing you did last time, but just give us a new game. And I kind of felt that way going into this, but I'm so glad that they refined that combat system. So if you're into turn-based combat, timed hits, and like positioning, I guess because it's not a strat. At first I thought it was going to be like a strategy game when I seen like the kind of like the grid-based system, but it's not that at all. It's basically like, oh, you can use movement in turns, but it's also a turn-based game.
It's funny. We kind of dunked on it earlier. That almost sounds like
system too.
That almost sounds like Lunar, but good. Because like you have positioning in Lunar the same way. I don't know if you ever played Live A Live. It's almost the same.
It's so good.
Yeah. Would you compare it to that almost like because almost the way you're describing it feels a little bit like that.
Very good game. I fucking love Live Alive.
I was kind of mixed on it. I mostly liked it. There was aspects of it I really did not like, but like overall, I thought it was uneven, but overall pretty good. I think the good stuff was so good that it was like, good for me. But yeah, that does sound interesting. I generally like South Park humor. I don't know why I've never played those. By the way, shout out to the Nintendo Direct announcer who tried very, very hard to not say the fractured butthole. Because he was the fractured butthole. He was very, very careful about it.
Yes, they're very careful.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to the Nintendo Power podcast?
I heard it a few times, yeah.
They sound like robots on there.
It's weird.
Do
yeah.
they? Like, today, we are going to talk about The Legend of Zelda. It just sounds like a fucking Nintendo Direct in a podcast form.
It's some people want that, man.
Isn't that like baked into the news section on the Switch or something weird?
Yeah, you could go there and listen to them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're there. Yeah,
that's my favorite podcast app, the Switch News
the
app.
Nintendo News.
Get SuperPod Saga anywhere you can listen, including on the Switch.
They're not going to let our filthy ass on there.
Filthy, yeah. My wet ass on there.
Wet butt.
Wet crisp ass.
Is it me or is it no? It's Aaron.
It's me.
Okay.
Aaron, give it to us. Give it to us clean.
Give it to me.
So my last pick before the lightning round, the Mario and Luigi series. Holy shit, dude! Speaking of timed hits, okay. So, except for like Dream Team and like Paper Jam, because I don't fuck with like the tilt control shit or anything, or like the gyro shit like that. But just the bros moves and so. Listeners, if you haven't, listeners, if you haven't played any of those before, basically it's just Mario and Luigi, and you're fighting enemies. It feels like you're playing a Mario game because you'll jump to dodge attacks. You can do jump attacks onto enemies, or do your hammer moves on enemies that you can't jump on, shit like that. But then there's the bros moves where you time attacks, and then you'll combine different attacks from Mario. A and B, and combine attacks from Mario and Luigi into like different cool Super Bros moves, like a cool helicopter move, or like smacking Luigi with a hammer like he's a golf ball into an enemy and doing big dick damage. And there's Sea of Stars kind of it seemed like they tried to do a little bit like that. Well, I guess
the best part of Sea of Stars was the combat,
and
the visuals.
The combat system in Mario and Luigi, specifically Superstar Saga, dude, it can't be beat. It's so fun.
I almost picked Superstar Saga for the show.
Damn.
I almost did, but I went Shin Megami Tensei 5. But yeah, I think, and I picked the original just because of what you said. And like I said earlier, I'm not a huge Paper Mario guy. I don't really do. I mean, like, I like the time attack stuff, but really, it's Mario and Luigi games for me. That's, to me, the most fun. It's snappy.
Yep.
Mainly because in comparison to the original Paper Mario, it's also 2D on the Game Boy Advance, which means it's 60 frames a second. By the way, if the Switch remake is not 60, I'm going to scream. Please, God, don't do that to me.
That new Switch game looks real good.
Yeah, it does.
I wasn't a big fan of when they first showed it on the Direct. I wasn't a giant fan of the art style, and I said so on the show, and Steve and Kevin yelled at me, and rightfully so. But I've come around to it. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was like, I don't know about this. But I see the light now. I feel differently. Should I just say one final one real quick, if you don't mind?
Yeah, we can each have one to toss out in the lightning round.
Oh, okay.
I got nothing left. I'm fucking dry.
Okay. He has a dry butt. Okay, I just want to say real quick, lightning round, Dragon Quest, the original Dragon Quest. I really, really, really like the original, and it's for the reason of you're a single solitary person. You're a party of one. And I think that's great. I don't know why other RPGs have hardly ever explored this. I mean, if there's other ones out there, you guys let me know. I don't think I've ever played another RPG of that type where you were just one person, like the whole game.
I can't think of anything either, man.
Yeah, I really like that aspect of it.
Turn-based. Yeah, I don't know if I can think of another one.
Yeah, it's so unique, and that makes it. I don't know. It lends a certain flavor. Look, I'm not going to sit here and explain Dragon Quest battle system to everybody. Everybody knows already, right? But it's
slimes.
Just like slimes and Toriyama Land. But yeah, man, I really like the original Dragon Quest because it's a party of one. I was recently on the Still Loading podcast with Josh to talk about this game, and I came to that realization while playing it, which is something I never really thought about until this year, honestly. So yeah, shout outs to the original Dragon Quest. Love the party one.
Party
Hell
one.
yeah.
My last like real quick one to toss out there is Chrono Cross, because I talk about this game all the fucking time.
That's your Gomon. That's like the way
really
I am with Gomon. That's yours.
It really is, man. It's such a different but really fun to tweak with combat system. Basically, like when it's a character's turn, you can pick between like a light, medium, and heavy attack, and just chain attacks together, build up their element meter or whatever the fuck it's called, to where you can use an element in your element grid. Because like your element grid there's different levels of abilities you can use, and you basically I don't know how to explain it. I'm really fucking tired, but
wow.
Combat.
Each character has an element grid of like a different, I guess, shape or like composition, and depending on what level, each time you land, like say a light attack, you'll build up 1 to your element meter. If you land a medium attack, you'll charge it up by 2, and then heavy by 3. So you can chain any combination of like, say like you do 1, 2, 3, and then you had a combo or an element meter of 6, or you can do like 3 2s, or basically you max out at 6 because your character has a stamina gauge that maxes out at 6. It's a lot, man. But there's also like the different elements, which base elements are like spells and abilities and items that you can use in combat, and like the elements that you use also kind of affect the battlefield in certain ways. Like there's this I guess like field icon in the like top left window when you're in combat, and say if you use like 3 red elements in a row, it'll boost the next red element that's used, and it'll weaken blue elements that are used that turn as well too. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of weird goofy layers to it, but yeah, it's really good.
Because I am a guest and I am trying to be a good guest in someone else's home, I will decline for once to not talk shit about Chrono Cross. I will say good on you.
Okay.
I fucking hate that game.
Well, Aaron, take us out of here before someone gets offended. And by someone, I mean you.
Everything you said is great. The music is fucking incredible. That's why I played 20 hours of it. I wanted to hear the next song, and the next song, and the next song.
Okay, well, that's the end. No, I'm kidding, man. It's all right that you don't like it, dude.
It's a good thing his camera's off, because he's fucking balling right now.
Yes, listeners, that is our show today. Holy shit, thank you, Andre, for coming on and talk about your favorite cool turn-based combat with us. Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Any time at all. Indeed.
Aaron, take us out of here.
Bye, bitch.
Do you remember how to do this?
I think so. Jerry, where can listeners find us or find time if they need to?
Usually I would tell them to go straight to hell, but today I'm going to be nice. I'm going to tell them to go to superpodnetwork.com, and they can find all the homies and homettes, if there's ever homettes on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We are dangerously lacking in homettes.
We need some more homettes.
I have a homette on our show.
Oh,
I think I might have the only homette.
Bill's sister is in one, actually.
Oh, yeah. Bill's sister. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple of home ecks on there.
I love cooking soup. That's all I did in home ec.
Soup is so good, man. I could literally eat soup
today.
every day.
I had chicken noodle soup today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Anyway, speaking of soup, that's it, listeners. That's the show.
That's the soup.
Again, leave a rating / review, whatever you're listening on. Check out Find Time, superpodnetwork.com. Leave a rating / review. Already said that. Support the show on Patreon, $2 for $4 a month. Everybody, say bye.
Bye, hoes.
Pop those tops off.
Okay, bye.